my name is Calypso Barotzis. I am the International Project Manager at Paris Society Consulting. So welcome. This is a International Luxury Hotel Association webinar, and today we're going to be talking about hotel food and beverage. So, and most specifically, how it's been changing and exciting where it's going, the future of it. So what I'm going to do is just to start with a little introduction of each of our participants, so that we can have an idea of where they specialize in and who they are. So maybe Giuseppe, we can start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Giuseppe, so you can easily imagine I'm Italian. I spent the last 17 years with the group Intercontinental. I'm currently the general manager of the Intercontinental Carlton Cannes. Over the last 17 years, I've been working in 5 countries, managing 6 hotels. Prior to that, I held different positions, always in the tourism and in hotel industry, working in Italy, in Greece, in Egypt, Kenya, Senegal, Spain, Malta, Portugal, and lately in France. My experience is primarily linked to concept development, branding, rebranding, and hotel management in general. And what I do like about that is that we cannot just, sit and stay where we are, because we always need to look at the future and try to anticipate to make sure that we can adapt our services and product to the customer need.
Great, thank you. Guillaume, would you like to continue?
Hi, my name is Guillaume Quirambrin. Obviously, I'm French, based in London. I launched my own company of consultancy, especially based on wine and spirits, called My French Sommelier, and I advise and I help restaurants to improve their wine list, improve their wine program. I also help brand of wine, brand of spirits to launch or to improve their distribution, especially in the UK. I used to work as a sommelier for various big groups such as Caprice Holdings or Alain Ducasse for many years.
Great. Cédric, why don't you?
Yes, hi. Yeah, no problem. I'm Cédric Aubelia. I'm working in Accor. I've been working for Accor for 11 years, and I'm in charge of what we call the lifestyle division. Lifestyle mean all the brand such as Mama Shelter, 24 Hour Tribe. We have 12 brands, and we're about to create a new entity, a new company called Ennismore, in which we're going to include Hoxton and Gleneagles in Scotland.
Fantastic. And Antoine?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Antoine Menard. I'm based in Paris, work for Paris Society till 4 years now. I'm in charge of the development and creation of the new brands for Paris Society. I'm also in charge of Paris Society Consulting with a great team, Calypso. And before that, I was a consultant during a little less than 10 years in charge of the development of new F&B concept for hoteliers.
Great, thank you. Welcome to you all. So just to give you the structure, so we're going to start with talking about what's the F&B offer in general in a hotel. Then we're going to go on to talk about the consumers and what they want from a hotel experience today. Then we're going to talk about markets. Where is it moving? Where are things changing? Where is it interesting to be looking at right now? And finally, we're going to look at the balance between lifestyle and global international growth and how we can balance those two. So I'm going to start with the very beginning. So I'm going to start, Cédric, and ask you. You, as you said, you are instrumental in creating the biggest lifestyle platform in the world. What is lifestyle for you? What does it mean?
So it doesn't mean anything. First of all, lifestyle. We all have our own lifestyle, so it doesn't mean anything. We don't like at all this word, but we didn't find any other one to define what we try to achieve, which is basically quite easy, at least in the hospitality business. Number one is if you want to define lifestyle, I would say 3 points. First one is all about branding and authenticity. All our lifestyle brands, they have an history. They are founders who share their values, who share the way of life, so lifestyle. And at the end of the day, they create a community which shares the same values. Mama, 25, you all have the founders. I mean, Jan Schreger with Morgan Group was also one of the king of the creation of lifestyle. So number one is the brand, and it's not marketing, it's authenticity. It's a real brand, real values. Number one. Number two is, I think it's a huge trend within the hospitality is lifestyle. It's all about not being anymore an hotel, but being more, I would say, a restaurant. It's more important. I mean, I would say that living is more important than sleeping. So we're gonna invest way more on the common areas, on the experience, than in the room. I mean, we've been working a lot on the room and all the. I mean, as an hotelier, and we believe that now people and our guests, our customers are looking for something else, and they're looking for experience. So I would say lifestyle is mostly around a living spot. And when you look at our brands within our division, lifestyle and lifestyle brands, the F&B represent more than 50% of our turnover. So when we look at a general manager, we look at an aubergiste, people managing a restaurant more than an hotel. And we strongly believe that by creating a living spot, creating a destination, we're going to attract, and that's the third point, we're going to attract not only travelers, but locals. It's a long time ago, we used to say that the hotel was never integrated in the local community. And our brand now and our hotel, lifestyle hotel, are really part of the local community. And we now first want to be local. So we want to attract local people. And by attracting these local people, travelers are going to come to our hotel. I mean, it's because the trend of our travelers is to live with local people, and they want to travel intelligently. They want to understand the local communities. They want to understand. I mean, you want to be with Parisian when you travel to Paris. You want to be with Berlinois when you're in Berlin. That's a new trend, and that's why we're very different in the lifestyle type of lifestyle platform.
Great. So actually, on that point about revenues, Giuseppe, I might actually ask you. Obviously, traditionally, rooms to F&B revenues has been usually we give more towards the rooms. Are you seeing this change even in the 5-star segment? I know you've got an experience more in luxury 5-star high-end segment. You also have experience in quite traditional classic hotels. Are we also seeing this shift in the style of hotels that you are running at the moment?
Thank you for asking the question, because actually the question is absolutely pertinent. When I first started in my career, the ratio F&B revenue rooms was on average between 18 to 25% versus the percentage of the room revenue. That grows slightly in some destination if it was a resort destination or a destination where you have no choice. That, to some extent, was the history of the luxury hotels for many years. In general, in Western countries, the ratio were much lower than the one in Asia or in Africa, but for the destination itself. The first good thing is that we have to stop thinking the way it was in the past, whereby our general managers, so including myself, we've been asked to focus on the room revenue because that was the only center of profit, and all the other things needed to be there because needed to be there. We stopped thinking that way, and now we consider, first of all, we don't call it anymore F&B. That's a good step ahead, restaurants and bars. The name itself has to determine the way we manage it. Our ways of working and approaching the F&B has changed and keeps changing on a daily basis, because we do not refer anymore to the place link to the hotel customer. As you rightly said, Cedric, we need to look at the local community. If you don't attract the local community, you don't have a good concept. And if it doesn't work for the local, will never work for the hotel guests that tend to go out to look for that experience. So the experience is the other word we have to look at, because to improve our ratio of revenue, we need to make sure that the experience we create is absolutely aligned to the new needs of the customer. It doesn't matter if you are in the luxury segment, in the 4-star, 3-star, the experience is what they look for. Most of our restaurants in the past, they were, allow me to use a word that truly defined this, stiff. They used to be stiff. So you go there, you are not comfortable, you cannot talk, you cannot express yourself, you're afraid of doing noise, you're afraid of laughing, so you don't have fun. So the restaurant today, they want to create that sophistication through simplicity, but at the same time, we want to make sure the customers enjoy it. And it's the only way to improve our ratio, to make sure that we get to that 40, 50, and even 60%. If you look at the company IAG, there is a brand that built on that, Kimpton, that you might know very well. Over 50% of the revenue is driven by restaurants and bars. And that is because they are concepts created to make sure that locals go, so the customer that they choose that hotel to stay is because there is that restaurant and that bar. And that is the future. So with this in mind, we can improve our ratios. If we do not listen to that change happening, our ratios will remain very weak.
Yes. Antoine, Giuseppe mentioned concepts. So you've developed many concepts through the years, and you have a consulting branch at Paris Society. What makes a great hotel restaurant? What makes it last, and what is important when you are developing a hotel restaurant?
Well, I think a hotel restaurant needs to be designed and developed in the same way as a standalone restaurant. And this is not often the case. There is three very important things. The first thing is to develop a strong concept. Giuseppe talked about simplicity. I'd like to add the timeless concept. And we suggest not to make food trends concept. The second thing is targeted clientele. Know who your key customers are, and they are not only the hotel guests. Another thing, for instance, we never suggest to work with a known chef, for example, because if the chef leaves, so that the clientele. So the concept has to be built on different elements, and not only the cuisine and not only the chef. The second thing is the attention to the detail. The experience starts from when the customers makes a booking, so the entrance, the welcome, not just the food. And the third thing is to have a 360 degrees vision. All elements must reflect the concept. The menu, of course, but also the decor, the lighting, music, and uniforms. The hotel guests are not the main clientele if you want to make your restaurant a success. So the offer should not be tailored only on this guest, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, we mentioned, Antoine mentioned maybe the fact that a chef is using a well-known chef in a restaurant can sometimes work for a certain amount of time, and then when they leave, you lose the clientele. The word stiff also is something we sometimes associate with gastronomy, kind of Michelin starred, and you've worked a lot with at Antiques, for example. That how has that sector changing and going towards a bit more lifestyle? Have you seen a change in that sector?
Well, I think first of all, I think we are totally on the same page when we say that the hotel customer is not the main customer for the restaurant. Based on my career, I moved from a group managed and owned and drive by the face of the notoriety of a star chef, Alain Ducasse, and don't get me wrong, it was a massive and very interesting experience. But I moved to another group owned by a businessman who know how to make another experience, how to build something totally different, such as if you are interested by the UK market, 60 Fish, which is it's a cocktail restaurant. You know, it was one of the first times that somebody say we will make a cocktail restaurant, or he owned also the famous private member clubs called Annabelle's, where yes, everything need to be, as Antoine mentioned, everything need to be in a part of the experience, and this is the main thing. What we did with Caprice Holding, we and Burley Clubs, we tried to make it happen, you know, with very beautiful environment, beautiful decoration. Uniform is very important for Mr. Kering. With the food, with a very attractive and qualitative menus with a lot of diversity. And for the wine, on my part, or for the beverages, we had to do the same. We have to follow. And you know, there is so many restaurants who they are on the very high level, but it start to be boring. And where, as Giuseppe say, you don't want to laugh, you don't want to have a good time, because if you are the only one who experience fun, you say that it's quite weird compared to the other table. And maybe it's not good to use as an example, but maybe what's happened now at the Plaza Athénée and Alain Ducasse, who stopped the contract, there is many things behind that. It's not only because it's 20 years, it's also because probably Dorchester want to bring something new to, there is some strong player now in especially in Paris with Paris Society, where the experience, where the feeling, the ambiance, the everything around the quality of the food or the service is also a key factors. And I think the gastronomic and the Michelin star need to move a little bit more on this side. The gastronomic or the Michelin star sectors or industry in London or in New York, when I used to work, also are totally different than the French market. We are less old school abroad.
So we've spoken about, so clearly customers, the clientele, we're asking for something different. We're asking for more than just food. Cedric, this trend that we're seeing definitely in Europe, are we seeing it everywhere? Are there specific areas where you're seeing it more? Where are you, and are there any areas where it's definitely being driven first?
So what of course it's a huge trend. I will do two comparisons. Number one is it's coming from Airbnb for sure. I mean, and we understood, we as hotelier, that how these guests, they want to have a new type of experience, and they want to share experience with local people, back to local people. Huh? Mm-hmm. And Airbnb pushed us a lot on rethinking the way we want to attract and we want to create experiences. So it's not an hotel it's not an hotel trend. It's a global trend. Huh? When you look at the number of, I would say, lifestyle hotels in the world, you have roughly today a little more than 300,000 rooms in the world. We believe that we're going to double these figures. It's a very small figure when you compare to the global number of hotels in the world, but we double every 2 or 3 years. So the growth is huge. And if we had if we want to make a comparison with another industry, I would compare it with the airline industry. I mean. It's not because the lifestyle business or lifestyle hospitality business is growing that we're taking we're taking a market share of the hospitality business. I think we're increasing the global market because we're attracting people that were not staying in our hotel because of the experience we were giving at that time. When you look at what the low cost carrier did within the transport industry. Air France and Lufthansa and British Airways, it didn't reduce the number of passengers, of the capacity. We just increase the cake. We have more travelers around the world, and the low cost companies gave the ability to a lot of people to travel around the world. With lifestyle, it's exactly the same. We are in this trend where we want to offer something different than just an hotel. So we are attracting new type of customer. We're attracting new type of travelers. We're attracting new local people that were never coming in our hotel. So we increases the size of the cake, which is very good. Which means that the trend is big for sure, and I don't see a stop. I don't know where we're gonna stop actually, but we know that we're growing a lot, and we have a huge demand coming from the owners. Trying to develop and to redevelop hotel within a lifestyle brand. And when I keep on telling owners is that it's not because it's a good trend that the hotel industry gonna entirely change. I mean, you're gonna still have very classic brands because you're gonna still have a lot of travelers that want to stay in this type of hotel. So it's not a question of it's not a game changer. We're just moving. And it's a new trend. See what I mean? Which is quite important. I mean, we're going to still have Novotel, Mercure, other Hiltons. It's absolutely key. We're just adding a new piece in the puzzle.
And Antoine, Paris Society is developing and is investing in different places. where is Paris Society investing? Where do you see the key places where a brand, a lifestyle brand like Paris Society would thrive?
Could you repeat again, Calypso,
Sorry.
please?
We're seeing that we're talking about development to global trends, and Paris Society is developing right now. So where is Paris Society investing, and why these markets?
Where Paris Society investing? So I will have two different answers for the consulting and Paris Society. For the consulting, we are seeing that both large brands and independents are focusing more on F&B. We are working with more and more hoteliers on the consulting part. For Paris Society, we are developing our brands at the moment. The aim is to structure our current brands. So actually, as Cedric for the Accor Lifestyle, we have 12 brands actually in 3 different kind of brands, more popular one, more festive one, and I think Cedric, you don't like lifestyle word. I don't like our word to say that the other restaurants of Paris Society are like casual luxury, so we are developing this brand and few others, so that we have a range of establishment, French, Italian, Russian, indoor, outdoor, premium, lifestyle across the premium segment. We are developing these brands in key markets. The market we know more is Paris, but also Saint-Tropez, and also in the Alps, so Megève, Val d'Isère, Courchevel, where our Parisian guests are going in holidays. We also have one of our brands in London, and we will develop different brands in London. And we are looking for Dubai and KSA also.
Great. Guillaume, you clearly know the London market. It's London's gone through a lot of changes recently. It's still a key player in the F&B market. Still, a lot of pioneering restaurants have started in London and then have gone on to develop all over the world. Do you see this trend continuing in London? How do you see it being based there and seeing what's going on?
Well, yeah, I'm living in London, but I had the opportunity to walk between Paris and London, and frequently, not comparing, but be a little bit critic on both sides, and critic is always positive, I guess. The UK market is very dynamic, still very dynamic. We have big problem now in recruitment and finding the right people, because there is a lot of people who moved during the first lockdown. They are not allowed to come back now after Brexit due to the visa issues. Even if you work in the UK for 3, 4, 5 years, if you didn't make your paper properly before you left, you are not allowed to coming back. It's a big trouble, and the dynamic is now a little bit mellow. It's a little bit fluffy, but all the big concept and all the big venue are still packed and working well. To give you just one example, Cyril Lignac, the French chef, just opened Bar des Prés in London. It's the good balance between French and Japanese food in a very again casual, chic venue. I personally prefer the London venue because it's a little bit large and a little bit bigger. But yeah, they were packed since the first day a week ago. People came for lunch, booked for the following dinner, come back the day after, and it's crazy because London is the good link between the dynamic in New York, where I spend a lot of time also, and the tradition and the all the gastronomic side from France. You have the energy of a big city like in New York with all the quality and the precise perception of hospitality from France. I think London will stay a good playground for the hospitality industry.
That's a good way of putting it. Giuseppe, we're talking about markets and customers, and how are you seeing a change in? You've been in the Carlton for a little while now. Have you seen it? You were saying how you saw a change in what customers wanted, and also obviously in the revenues, which reflects that. Are you seeing a change in the clientele that is coming through? Is there a difference in the people who are coming to visit the hotel, or yeah?
If I may, just one.
Yeah, of course.
I'd like to add one thing. So it's not a change in customer they are coming, because the travelers are they keep loving traveling. As Cedric said, there is a new component of traveler that was not there before, and we do look into that very attentively, because it's not only the customer of the hotel itself that is our target customer. Over the past few years, we've been studying the personas, profiling the potential guests, not only for the hotel like we used to do in the past, but we've been profiling customers to understand who is our key customer for the restaurant, for lunch, for dinner, for the bar, for the breakfast, and that remains a key focal point. So we have changed the way we strategically do our financial projection, because we know that there is a cake that is there that was never touched by hoteliers before, or it was marginally touched because people were feeling just, can I enter the carton? Am I allowed to go and have a drink? So we want to change the perception to make sure that we eliminate completely this kind of unwritten barrier that create a friction between the local community, the local travelers, and the travelers that they are not within the hotel. So the target customer has changed. We had to look into new professionalities that we did not have within our employees before. So yes, we do look into the customer. We pay attention to that, but we try also to understand what we are not doing right to make sure we can engage with those customers. Yes, most of the inspiration is coming from key cities. You mentioned London, New York. I used to live in New York. I know very well London. I do look into London and New York as an inspiration as much as I do look into Berlin and Hong Kong. But then I do try as well to make sure that we understand who's coming to Cannes, because I'm in the south of France. What is the customer traveling to Saint-Tropez and to Monaco as well, not staying within the hotels, and how can I make sure that they do come and stay with us? Because at the end of the day today, when I take only one concept like the beach club, well, 60% of my customer will be for external customers, and they will be even more in the future, because one guest likes to experience the locals. So he comes to the destination, then he goes one day to my place, one day to maybe the Paris Society restaurant that will open soon in Cannes, and that is only good. And like Antoine mentioned, we try to understand if customers are still looking to the chef name or the experience. And for what we can understand, the experience remains key in their decision. So we keep focusing on that.
Great. Just based on what the customers are wanting these days, yeah, I'm actually going to go back to you, because obviously you're drinks, well, wine professional, drinks professional. We're seeing a lot of changes in the drink sector, and they're linked. People are wanting experiences, they're wanting different things. We're seeing a rise in sort of no and low, hard seltzers, fermented drinks. They want more than just a drink, the same way we want more than just a restaurant experience. What are you seeing in the world of wine?
Well, that this trend on no or low alcohol is still a trend.
Yeah.
It's interesting to have a look. I started to work on it and to see what we can do with roughly 15 years ago. Well, 15 years ago, the quality was not there, definitely. But we try at Spoon with Mr. Ducasse in Hotel Marignan in Paris. We try to have another experience to offer to the guests based on no or low alcohol. Today, I think a big brand found a solution to make some product with quality. It came from the UK market, mainly with gin, for example. There is some great product. They allow us to be also sponsors on big events where it was not possible anymore, especially in France, to promote alcohol. Now it's possible to do to be like Heineken, a sponsor of a big race, because they just need to put no alcohol on it, and that's fine. But you know, we spoke about experience. We spoke about having fun, live a great time all together. And I don't want to say that without alcohol it's difficult to do, but you know, it brings a little bit more fun when you have at least one glass of wine. I think we need to reverse the problem and say that it's better to drink less and with better quality instead of trying to drink a lot without alcohol. And I would like to thank Paris Society, by the way, who found great solution on their wine list to put one of the most prestigious Bordeaux half of the price than every other brand or every other restaurant, sorry, in Paris. I will not say the name of this chateau, but you know, I'm sure they sold more bottles in one restaurant that many groups in London. Okay, you do less margin, but you bring more customer happy, and you bring another dynamic, another energy. And I think this is where we have to go. We need to think differently when we do our markup, when we do our when we do the math to get the right selling price. We need to be a little bit more smart and see how we can make more margin elsewhere and bring another experience to the guest.
Great. Okay, let's go on to talk about this balance between lifestyle, which is, you know, all about authenticity, experience, and then global growth, and also this idea of traditional. Giuseppe, you work in a very traditional place that's a hallmark of history. We spoke about the experience. You need to find a balance between the two. Obviously you're saying that it can work, but how can you? Is there anything you can develop on that? Keeping the classic, keeping the traditional, whilst having a bit of lifestyle, a bit of a twist to the hotel to keep it, you know, still relevant today.
Well, the answer is a bit different than a simple yes or a no to that question, because it's very complex. The reality is that the hotel carton will maintain its heritage no matter what we do. And we can't forget where we come from because of the listed monument we are, because of a lot of things that are linked to the hotel. On the contrary, this should remain as an integral part of the DNA. But if we are a little bit smart, we can also think that at the very beginning, when the Carlton Hotel was created, was a trendsetter, because Cannes was a little bit of a fisherman village, and we created trends. So, and that is something that we need to always keep in mind. Another thing that is lifestyle doesn't mean standard, nor it is a term in contradiction with the word luxury. Lifestyle, like you said, Cedric, is a way of living. Every single person has a way of living. Every single person has an attachment to a brand or to an experience. So we just need to make sure we understand it properly. Before, we used to impose our will to the guest. We used to say the restaurant is like that, breakfast is like that. You're going to go through this experience. You cannot choose. Today, we need to understand what they want, because if we don't do it, they will look it elsewhere. So what we have to do is to find the right balance between their lifestyle, so their way of living, what they look for, and what we can provide to them, keeping in mind our DNA is, unfortunately, to be a classic heritage hotel. I would like to change the facade and put it in color, but I can't. So I need to stick with it. Having said that, I can use it to set new trends in 2021. Doing what we did back at the beginning of the 19th century and 20th century by evolving in our restaurants and bars, by evolving in the concept we offer when you go to a beach club or or simply when you sit in a bar or in a tea lounge or the pool. And that requires a lot of attention to some of the concepts you mentioned, because lifestyle today is also wellness. Wellness is a word that we need to keep in mind when we define our menus. We need to pay attention to the content of a lot of elements, because customers are attentive to that. But that doesn't mean becoming a hospital. So you just need to make sure that you have the right balance between having, like Guillaume said, a glass of wine to have fun, but at a good quality, at the right price, that enables me to come back again and again. And also I need to make sure that when I go away, I don't feel unhappy, I had fun, and I don't feel ripped off. Mm-hmm. These are three words that, unfortunately, when you put them together, they seem so easy, but it's so complicated to create that experience. Within Intercontinental, we have been very classical. Yes, you're right. Over years, it's a brand that has evolved. But again, a brand that set trends. With Panam, they open hotels where they did not exist to make sure travelers can go. Now we have to look into customers that are not only linked to us. We know our guests enjoy brands and lifestyle. So I'm in agreement with what you all said. The chef is not any longer the key attraction of the R&B experience you offer in a hotel. It is important to have good chefs, don't get me wrong. We want to have phenomenal chefs, but it's only one element that probably weight 20 to 25% after the 100% of the experience. While 10 years ago, 15 years ago, probably it was 85 to 90%. So that is the change in weight, which means that we need to look into every single aspect from the design that is so important. That's why we as a company also, we ask for help and support to proper experts that they help us understanding and analyzing that. So yes, we do look into lifestyle, and yes, lifestyle is important into the growth of a brand like Carton Can. However, we cannot forget where we come from. So we just need to make sure that we find the right balance, because the lifestyle of every single customer is sometimes different, but all of them, they can be, to some extent understood, and we cannot do a little bit for everybody. We need to be very specific. When you start to do a little bit of everything, you end up doing something that doesn't really work. So we need to be very specific in understanding those needs.
Great. So Cedric, Accor is traditionally known as a kind of, one of Accor's strengths used to be being able to standardize all its brands, and it used to be one of its strengths. It still is actually, but now obviously with this lifestyle brand, it's about standardizing it, but also maintaining this authenticity and keeping the human element at the core of it. So how do you structure that in Accor? How do you keep that balance?
Okay, so I'm going to try to answer in a different part. Number one is, you're perfectly right. Accor is a big company, and we have a very standardized processes, and we're very known to be very professional. So it's not easy to move and to change and to be creative and to have lifestyle brand within this big organization. And so the first decision which I took, and we took with Sébastien Mazin, is to create a dedicated, totally separated division, standalone division, where we can do whatever we want. When I say whatever we want, we can protect this brand. And part of my job over the last 3 years was to protect this brand and to make sure that we're going to have the best of the two worlds, to have the best of Accor in terms of processes, or in terms at least of power, of distribution, sales, of audit, whatever, and to maintain this creativity, this authenticity, this spontaneity of this brand. So by creating this division, we've been able to overprotect this brand. And I think it's if we have to be proud of something, if I have to be proud of one thing, it would be to our ability to protect this brand. And we've been creating this. We did create this division 5 years ago, and these 12 brands and the 4 brands I'm managing are still super protected, and still and we did not at all dilute the DNA of this brand. So it's that's the way we did. So it was quite important. Number one, so we took the best of these two worlds. Number two, the biggest issue for us today is it's not about standardized, but it's about the growth. And so how can we keep this crazy mindset? How can we keep, which makes this brand attractive? How can we keep these values and this spontaneity when you have so many properties? I mean, it's easy to to create your own brand, your own lifestyle brand when you have one property. I mean, when the Triganos did with Mama Chateau was super easy. I mean, super easy. No, but with one property, it's more easy than with 20, 30, and 50 properties. So the question is how will we do without putting in place any processes or too strong standardized processes, how not to kill the brand, and to make sure that we, at the same time, we maintain this mindset and we develop the growth. So I would say this again, three points. The first one is, which is absolutely key, and it's not always the case in big companies. You need to have one person who does represent the brand. I would say even more, we're gonna embody the brand. Okay, you have the founder, you have people. If they like the blue and they want blue on the wall, it's gonna be blue because it's the founders. That the guy is gonna. He's the brand. It's himself. Okay. He sweat the brand. So it's all about what I used to say is our ability to embody the brand. Number one. Okay. Number two, you have the brand standards. At the end of the day, you have to respect some basic brand standards as in any other brand in the hospitality, but it can be different. It can be in the entertainment environment, it can be in the lighting, it can be on the sound. Some brands, it's not only about amenities, not only about bedding, it's not only about, it can be about something intangible or something more around the entertainment. Okay, but brand standard has to be absolutely key. So you have the guy, so I would say you have the you have the boss, well recognized. You have the brand standard that can be a little intangible, and then the most important part is the people. You need to pick, you need to select, you need to have the right GM, because at the end of the day, this guy gonna do the job, and we're gonna ask him to follow some of the processes to make sure that the profitability of the property is good, but also we're gonna ask him to be to think out of the box, always within this mindset and the values of the brand. I mean, when you look at all our GM from Mama, they've been addicted to Mama, they've been brainwashed by Mama, they love Mama, they're in the Mama mindset. I mean, they even more Mama than the Trigano. And I tell you, when you go to Lyon, Marseille, or these guys, they really, you can feel that they're part of the family. At the end of the day, we're talking about a community. We're talking about a community of people sharing the same spirit, the same values. So the selection and the people is the key element to make sure that you're going to protect. You will not. We will never dilute your DNA, and you're going to keep on giving the same spirit everywhere.
Great. So Antoine, you are in the process of growing at Paris Society and developing your brand. As Cedric mentioned, there's steps that need to be done. How is Paris Society cautious not to lose their identity as they grow? What are the steps that you are taking?
So just repeat. I have
Sorry,
technical.
Yeah. What Paris Society are in the process of growing and developing the brand.
Yeah.
So what are you being cautious? What steps are you doing and being cautious to not lose your identity?
Well, that is very, very important, and I'm very cautious about that. We have one standard identity with Paris Society, but we also have different identity and different brands, and which is very, very important. It's to have strong differences and strong identity per brands. So for that, we work on brand Bibles, and they are key. They are key because they're we put in this Bible all the elements. So, of course, all the food recipes, all the drinks, all the uniforms, but we try to work on what is the 360-degree experience for our guests, and to work on the entertainment. So the music, the smell of the room, the OSNE and the plates on which the food is placed. I really think that a same dish in two different plates can make the difference. So we work on the lighting and the warmth, the atmosphere, the plants, and we are not a copy paste. We have signature touches to our brands, but we adapt them to the local market. We don't have brands which could be duplicated like 50 or 50 times in the world. Each of our brands can be, I think, can work with 8 or 10 different outlets, no more. So we have to choose our location and we have to adapt our brand. For instance, Le Piaf in Paris is not exactly the same that Le Piaf in Courchevel or Le Piaf in Saint-Tropez. And that is the same for Gigi. Gigi is an Italian restaurant, an Italian concept. And Gigi in Paris is more sophisticated than Gigi in the beach, where people want more simplicity, you know, and that will be the same for Gigi in the mountain. So we are not in a era of standardization, especially not in this luxury and premium concept for Paris society.
Great, thank you. And yeah, we're going to just finish off. This is my last question. Hospitality, it's all about the people, the staff on the front lines. They're the people who really run the operation and do the hard work. You train staff as part of your consulting, how and training them and maintaining every individual staff as well as keeping those standards. The same question, the same idea, but for individual people really on the front lines. How do you keep that balance?
Talent or staff and training talents are one of the most important things for me. I did for a while, for more than 20 years now. Obviously, mainly on wine and spirit, mainly and mainly on wine, and all the sommelier and the wine service. And it's very important, it's probably why I just launched and created another activity based on the headhunting and recruitment, just to find some other people, but not only to get people, to bring something, to coach people, to I don't want to be a mentor, there is no point, but to bring something. We have personally, and just based on wine and sommelier, we have a big problem. Our job is it start to be too old school or too trendy based on the natural wine and all the subnatural things, and where you can't make any profit, don't get me wrong, and all the old school things with the bow tie and the black suit and the guy very stiff without any alcohol problem. It's we are in a new generation, but what we have to do, it's to make it simple, you know, to just to explain to the staff that wine, it's easy. Opening a bottle of wine is the same if you are in a small bistro or a 3-star Michelin restaurant. You use the same tool and you do exactly the same thing. After, you can make it a little bit different, be a little bit more relaxed, more comfortable with this action. And it's the same thing when you speak about wine, you propose wine. You know, I think that more than 70% of the staff in the world take orders just on wines. When we try with my clients to bring something a little bit different, give the opportunity to the staff to propose, to suggest, to offer. And it's so easy to explain the difference between this piece of beef from this area and this special cut of beef from 300 kilometers, blah, blah, blah. But for the wine, everybody are scared. But it's the same thing. And we need just to make it simple, to make it accessible, and to show to this young generation that they don't have to be scared about our industry, about hospitality. And I love this word because in English it means a lot. You know, it's not just food and beverage. It's not just a restaurant or hotel. It's hospitality. It's how to host people, to invite them to an experience. And this is what you have to bring. We have more and more people who don't want to spend 5 years in a catering school to learn how to take 3 plates or pour a glass of wine. They want to learn a job like 100 years ago.
Mhm.
And 100 years ago, training and teaching some young people to make this job was way easier because we make it fun and pleasure in the middle of the discussion, in the middle of the presentation. It's part of the lifestyle.
Great, thank you. I'm just aware of time, so I've asked all my questions. Are there any more comments, any more additional comments that anybody would like to add to the discussion that I haven't managed to get out from you already?
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. It's been inspiring, very interesting. We've all learned a lot, and I'm sure the viewers will very much enjoy it. So thank you very much, gents. It's been really great, and have a lovely rest of the day.